أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وعلى آل محمد وأصحاب محمد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Inshallah, today's topic is Badal. So we will go over what Badal is and how it is used in Quran, what it is purpose. Then we go over a few examples. So in its most basic shape, it will be defined as this. If there is one ism which follows another ism, and the second ism gives more information, more details about the first one, then the second ism is called Badal. And the first ism is called Mubdal Minhu. Inshallah, as I talk, give you some example, then it will be, inshallah, it will become clear what I mean. For example, I say, Ustaz Abdul Khaliq. Ustaz means teacher. So instead of just calling him Abdul Khaliq, I say Ustaz. And then I say Abdul Khaliq. When I said Ustaz, which is the first ism, I meant brother Abdul Khaliq, because there could be some other Ustaz also. So Ustaz is the first ism, and Abdul Khaliq is the second ism, and second ism is actually giving more details about the first ism. And when I said the first ism, I meant the second one. Therefore, the first ism, Ustaz, will be called Mubdal Minhu, and the second ism, Abdul Khaliq, will be called Badal, substitution. Similarly, for example, I say Sheikh Atif. When I said Sheikh, and then I said Atif, it means Sheikh could be somebody else too. But when I said Atif, then it became specific. And when I said Sheikh, I actually meant to say I was meaning Atif, not any other Sheikh. So the first ism, which is Sheikh, is Mubdal Minhu, and Atif is the Badal. If you want to try, you can do this. Like, this is not any other fragment. Like, if you want to make it Sifa Mawsuf or Mudaf Ilayhi, it won't fit there, because in Sifa Mawsuf, Sifa comes after. It is kind of a backward over here. So it doesn't fit. This doesn't come under any, or it is not an example of any other types of fragment that we have learned. So Mubdal Minhu and Badal. So this is what we will talk about today. We will talk about Badal and different types of Badal, and then we will learn some examples from the Quran, inshallah. So there are 4 types of Badal: Badlul Kul, Badlul Ba'd, Badlul Ishtimal, and Badlul Ghalat. First 3 have come in Quran. The 4th one is not in Quran. But inshallah, we will just cover it just so you know what it is. So Badlul Kul, which means a total substitution. Total substitution. The example from Quran is وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ لِأَبِيهِ آذَرَ. And when Ibrahim said to his father Azar. So Azar is the name of his father. And Azar is the badal of Abihi. And when Ibrahim said to his father Azar. And Mubdal Minhu and Badal, they have to match in status. Rafa Rafa, Nasab Nasab, and Jar Jar, as it is said here. They must match in status. And another thing is this, when a badal is used, it introduces an element of ihtimam. Ihtimam. What is ihtimam? Ihtimam means it makes a little bit formal. It makes the description a little formal. For example, over here, Ibrahim, the ayat could have been this. And when Ibrahim said to his father, the ayah could have ended here, or ayah could have been when Ibrahim said to Azar. But by saying his father Azar, it makes it a little formal, this description. It adds ihtimam to it. So again, Abihi is Mubdal Minhu and Azar is its badal. Okay, let's go to the other example. وَإِلَى ثَمُودَ أَخَاهُمْ صَالِحًا. And towards Samud, and we sent towards Samud their brother Saleh. So Akhahum is the Mubdal Minhu and Salihan is the brother, and you can see they match in status. Akhahum is Mansub and Salihan is also Mansub. And over Azar, in the previous example, Azar was Majroor. It's a non-Arab name. So Azaru, Azara, and Azara will be Nasab and Jar. So over here, Ahahum is Mubdal Minhu and Salihan is this Badlul Kul, because it is a total complete substitution. Because if you remove Ahahum and replace it with Salihan, it will be okay. It will still make sense. And we send towards Samud Salihan. So that is why it is called total substitution. It is a total replacement. You could use one or the other and it will make sense. Over here, in the third example, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. Guide us toward the straight path. Straight path from Surah Fatiha. Path of those who you favored upon. Over here, you see Sirata is Mansub. And it is this Mansub because it is a badal of the Sirat, that the word that came before. Okay. So As-Sirat al-Mustaqim over here is the Mubdal Minhu, and the next ayah is actually giving more details, more information about that path. And the path of those who, what it means by straight path, it means that the path of those who you favored upon. Okay, so this is total substitution, Badlul Kul. In the last example here, I would ask someone to tell me what is Mubdal Minhu and what is Badal. I will just translate for you. And who wants to tell me, just can speak up and let me know. قالوا آمنا برب العالمين. They said, we believe in the Lord of all worlds, Lord of all nations, or Master of all nations. Rabbi Musa wa Harun, Lord of Musa and Harun. So, can somebody tell me from the class what is Badal and what is Mubdal Minhu?
Can I tell it?
Sure.
So here, Birabbil Alameen over here is Mubdal Minhu, and Rabbi Musa wa Harun is Badl al Kul. It's just like Sirat al Mustaqim and Sirat al Ladina An'amta alayhim.
Very good, very good. Good, thank you, Ibrahim. So this was said by the magicians, when they had a competition with Prophet Musa alayhi salam. And after they lost, they said, "We believe in the Lord of the all nations, Lord of Musa and Harun." So Rabbil Alameen could be sufficient, but and it is and Rabbi Musa wa Harun is like a complete or a total substitution of Rabbil Alameen over here. And it is also explaining, because when they said Rabbil Alameen, somebody may have understood really what it means. Is it really the same Rab which Musa and Harun uh, called Rab, or is something else, somebody else? So this is also provides more information about that, and it is a total substitution. And you see Rabbi and over here Rabbi both match in status, and it adds an element of ihtimam to this too. So this is Badlul Kul. Then the second type is Badlul Ba'd. So Badlul Ba'd, the English translation will be partial substitution. Partial substitution. So Badlul Ba'd is a part of or a subgroup of the Mubdal Minhu. Is a part of it, not the whole, like as it was the case in Badlul Kul. It is part of it. And usually this Badal has a damir attached to it, which refers back to the Mubdal Minhu. Inshallah, it will be clear once we discuss the ayah. The example is Kumil Layla illa qalila, stand for the night except a little. I mean, stand for the whole night except a little. That means most of the night. And then Allah says, nisfahu, half of it. Awin qus minhu kalila, or decrease from it a little. So nisfahu, Allah is saying half of it. Half of it. It refers back to the night. That is why al-layl is the mubdal minhu, and nisfahu is actually part of it. So what Allah is saying is stand for half of it, half of the night. What it means by al-layla illa qalila means nisfahu, half of it. Or you can even decrease it a little. Your prayer, you're standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is an instruction to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So over here, al-layl is mubdal minhu, and nisfahu is badrul ba'd, because it is not a total substitution, it is part of it. Nisfahu, it means half of the night, which is part or subgroup of al-layl. Okay. Second example, fihi ayatum bayyinatum muqamu Ibrahima wa man dakhalahu kana aminan. So this is not a typo here, it should be just a dhamma. In it are clear miraculous signs. Talking about Makkah here. In it are clear miraculous signs. Muqamu Ibrahim. So there are many signs, and Muqamu Ibrahima is one of them. And this Muqamu Ibrahima is Badlul Ba'd. And Ayatun Bayyinatun is its Mubdal Minhu. And who entered, Man dakhalahu kana aminan. And whoever entered it, he was safe. Talking about Makkah. So again, so this is not a total substitution, Maqamu Ibrahim, because it is not the only clear miraculous sign. It is one of the signs. So this is part of the signs. And that is why it will be Badrul Ba'd of Ayatum Bayyinat. All right, last one. وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ Man istata'a ilayhi sabila. So this is where I will invite someone, maybe someone other than Ibrahim, try this out, see if we can identify badal, main badalul ba'd, and its mubdal minhu. And only for Allah, pilgrimage to the house is made mandatory on the people. Who is able to have the means, who is able to have a path towards it, or take a path towards it, like travel towards it, it means. So can we identify what is mubdal minhu and what is badlul ba'd? Anyway, I will translate again just to help you out. And only for Allah is mandatory upon people the pilgrimage of the house. Who is able to take a path towards it, or able to travel towards it, have the means.
Brother Shiraz, is it ilayhi is substituting al-bayt here?
Something else. Something else.
من استطاع إليه السبيل.
Yeah, the whole thing is
Yeah.
Man istata'a ilayhi sabila is badal.
بدل.
And it is a badal of an-nas. Because in the first part of the ayah, Allah said it is mandatory on all the people. An-nas, all the people. And then Allah made it more clear in the remaining part, only those who are able to travel. So those who are able to travel, who have the means, who have the ability to travel towards it, it refers to the Hijjul Bayt, to the Kaaba, to the Bayt. So who have the ability to travel, have the means to travel, is a subgroup of all the people. So in the first part, An-Nas, which means all the people, is mentioned, that pilgrimage or Hajj is mandatory on all the people. Then Allah said, but only those who have the means to do it, means to travel towards it. So this is a man istata'a ilayhi sabila, is a subgroup of An-Nas. And this is what meant by An-Nas here. So that is a badlul ba'd. Ba'd means some part of it, right? Yeah. Badlul ishtimal, third one. So badlul ishtimal is not a total substitution. It's not even partial substitution. But in this type of badal has a relation or some sort of a link with mubdal min. And it also usually comes with the damir, which refers back to the mubdal minhu. Once we talk about it, inshallah, it will become clear. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الشَّهْرِ الْحَرَامِ قِتَالٍ فِيهِ. They ask you about the sacred month, fighting in it. So actually they are not talking about the sacred month, but actually they are talking about the fighting in it. So fighting in it is related to the Shahrul Haram. It is not substituting it fully or partially. It has a relationship. So Allah is saying they ask you about the sacred month, fighting in it. So fighting in it has a relationship with the sacred month. So this qitalin fihi is a badlul ishtimal. Ishtimal means to include. Ishtamala yashtamilu ishtimal, like ikhtilaf. Like shamil, in Urdu we say shamil karna. So it has a link. It is included in it. So fighting in the month of, the sacred month. So qitalin fihi again is badlul ishtimal, and ash-shahril harami is mubdal minhu. Next example. Qutila ashabul ukhdud an-nari zatil waqud. The people, the companions of the trench were killed. Fire of fuel, fire that has fuel in it. Fire, the possessor of fuel. Like there was fire and the fuel was in the fire still when it was burning. So trench, there is a trench, and actually the fire was inside the trench. And that is why this fire, this azatil waqud is its sifa. So with fire, the word fire with its sifa together will be the badlul ishtimal, because it was inside or part of the trench. So the people of the trench were killed, and then Allah explains what he means by trench. Actually, the trench had fire in it, with the fuel still in there. So an-nari zatil waqud is the badlul ishtimal, and al-ukhdud is the mubdal minhu. Okay, next one. This is where I will invite everyone again. وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنْ مَنَعَ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهِ أَنْ يُذْكَرَ فِيهَا اسْمُهُ. And who is more unjust, more wrongdoer than who forbids the mosques of Allah, the masajid of Allah, that his name is mentioned in them? What is mubdal minhu, and what is badlul ishtimal?
أن يذكر فيها اسمه.
That is badal. And do you know what is mubdal?
يا منع سجد منع مساجد الله.
Yeah, masajid Allah. Because remembering his Jazakallah khair, very well done. He's mentioning his name in them. This has some relationship with masjid, because the zikr is done in the masjid. And masjid is the mubdal minhu, and badlul ishtimal is an yazkura fiha ismuhu. You see, it is more than an ism. In the definition, I said one ism follows another ism, but it doesn't have to be necessarily just one ism, right? It could be more than one ism. There could be fail in it too, like over here. So masajid Allah is mubdal minhu, and the zikr is done inside the masjid, so it has a relationship with the masjid. It is not a substitute of the masjid, it has a relationship, a link with the masjid, and that is why it is called badlul ishtimal. And who is more unjust than who forbade the masajid of Allah? Which doesn't make sense. Forbade masajid of Allah? Then Allah made it very clear that his name is mentioned in them. This is what he forbids, mentioning his name in it. So Allah is saying, who's more wrongdoer than, more unjust than that person who does that. Okay, so this is badlul ishtimal. And again, this badlul ishtimal has a link or a relation with mubdal minhu. And again, as I said before, badal doesn't have to be necessarily an ism, or it can be a bunch of ism joined together, or it could be there could be a verb in it. It could be a jumla, a full jumla, which is used as a badal. And last one, badlul ghalat. Badlul ghalat is corrective substitution, as ghalat means wrong, right? Most of the people should know this. Ghalat means wrong. So by accident, if you say something wrong and then you correct it, the wrong thing you said is mubdal minhu, and your correction will be Badlul, it will be a badal. Badlul ghalat. Badal of the ghalat. For example, I just made up this example. It is not from Quran because there is no badlul ghalat in Quran. So I just made up an example. This is just Arabic. This is not an ayah. Ra'aytu fil masjidi Khalidan. I saw Khalid in the masjid. So I said that, and then right away, in a fraction of a second, I realized, oh, it wasn't Khalid. Actually, it was Zahid. So how I will say that? Ra'aytu fil masjidi Khalidan Zahidan. So I took two names, and the listener knows, understands it. Actually, by mistake, I said Khalidan. I meant to say Zahidan. So Zahidan is Badrul Ghalat, and Khalidan is Mubdal Minhu. And this happens many times. For example, what I observed is like mother has like few kids and she wants to call one kid, and by accident she takes the name of the other one, and then actually she makes another mistake, and the third time she is able to actually call the right kid, the one she meant to call. So the first two names she called, they will be Mubdal Minhu, and the correct name she called will be Badlul Ghalat. This happens many times in households, what I have observed. So this is a Badlul Ghalat, and as I said, it is not in Quran. Okay, so now I hope when it comes in Quran, you can identify it. Badal is an Urdu word too. If you're an Urdu speaker, it's really easy to remember and know what it does. So again, I will go over a few like the main characteristics of it. So in its most basic form, it is badal is an ism which follows another ism, and the second ism is called badal, and the first one is called mubdal minhu. They match in status, the farafa, nasab, jar. So if it is a sentence, then it will be muhallan. It will be a status, but it will be mahallan marfu, mahallan mansub, or mahallan majrur in the place of rafa, or nasab or jar. And as I said before, this introduces an element of ihtimam. It makes it a little formal. The description becomes a little formal. And last thing, I didn't talk about this one before, but I will mention that now. If mubdal minhu is ma'rifa, a proper noun, and its badal is nakira, then what happens? Badal normally comes with a sifa. So badal has a sifa with it. Let's see if we can find an example of it. There should be like, all right, let's see. Over here, al-ukhdud. Al-ukhdud. No, this is not a good example. This is not a good example because this is an-nar is also ma'rifa. So it is not an example of that. Let me think. No, actually, I don't have an example of that. Sorry. I should have included that. But anyway, this is happens like when there is a mubdal minhu, which is ma'rifa, and its badal is nakira, then the badal normally comes with a sifa. Any questions you have on this topic?
Brother, this is something from this as-sirat al-mustaqim and sirat al-ladhina an'amta alayhim. Isn't that an example? Because as-sirat al-mustaqim is replaced by sirat, which is light, but then al-ladhina an'amta alayhim is the sifa.
Yeah, that's what I was going to. That's what I was going to mention, but then I realized no, it is not that actually. Path of those who. So this is actually mudaf ilayh. And when mudaf is proper, sorry, mudaf ilayh is proper, then mudaf is also proper. And allazina and anta, allazina is a proper word. It is always proper. So that is why I stopped doing it,
Okay.
But I know there is a lanasfam bin nasiya. I can relate that. Lanasfam bin nasiya. Nasiyatin kazibatin khatiya.
Mhm.
Lanasfam bin nasiya. So first an nasiya is a proper noun. And then nasiya is used again. Right? The second nasiya is a common noun and it is a badal of the first proper noun an nasiya. And then you see kazibatin khatiya. Then it's two sifas are used for the common noun nasiba. And that's found in nasiya. Nasiyatin kazibatin khatiya. So nasiyatin is the badal and an-nasiya is that one came before is mubdal minhu and then kazibatin khatiya are the sifas of the common noun badal. So that is the example I should have mentioned here. But this one is not actually. Sirat is common, but when it comes with as mudaf ilayh, it becomes proper because mudaf ilayh is proper.
Right, right.
Any other comments or questions? If not, then we can go to the other part of the class.
Just a comment there while you were describing this, the total substitution, the partial substitution. So it comes to my mind about the types of maf'ul as well, like a maf'ul bihi and maf'ul hal. So there's two different type of grammatical terms can be used, right? So in that same sentence. So what we want to take is actually from this one because we are discussing Badalul Kull and Badalul Bad. So we will focus on this one, but there might be a maf'ul and description in that same sentence, right? The types of the maf'ul. Like
Sorry, I didn't
why,
really
when,
follow.
like for example, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. So it is mentioned here about that the path, the straight path. So what straight path? It is, there is a question in it, right?
Oh,
What?
okay, yeah.
Yeah. So then there is a description. There's Sirat al-Lazina. That path has actually. So it's answering
yeah.
that question of that one, right?
Yeah, exactly. I have a small topic, inshallah. I'm planning to teach that tomorrow. And that is on the same lines that the brother Hamad is saying. Inshallah, it is a smaller topic. It's not as longer. It will take less time than Badal, because there are types of Badal, and then we have to go over them. It's not, there are no types, just one small topic. And inshallah, that will be on the same lines what brother Hamad is talking about. Like the Sirat al-Lazina an'amta alayhim, it's not only a Badal, actually it is actually explaining too. It is answering the question, what straight path? Absolutely. This is what Brother Hamad is saying. Inshallah, we will talk more about this. Inshallah, tomorrow.
So,
and then it will be another element of it. Yes, please.
So another thing, by actually learning these new terminology, what is the application when we translate an ayah? So just to know the terms, right? But does it make a difference in translation?
No, not a huge difference. No.
That's a huge difference. Okay, just the application. I mean,
that's why we kept them at the end.
Okay.
They are. I mean, it's good to know them. For example, especially here in this example here, Kumil layla illa qalila nisfahu. Nisfahu. In the first part, it sounds like Allah has instructed the Prophet to stand for most of the night, except a little, for most of the night. But actually, Allah is saying not most, actually half of it. Yes, the command, the actual instruction is half of it. So it really helps to understand the ayah here. So it may not be very useful in some ayahs because it may be very clear already. But in some ayahs, it does help quite a bit. For example, over here in the third example here, this Badrul Ba'd, In the first part, Allah says it is mandatory on all the people to do Hajj. But in the second part, Allah says, who have the ability or have the means to take the path, to have the journey, to take the journey. So this obligation is not on all the people, as mentioned in the first part. This is the aslub. This is the way of description. This is the way Arabic was spoken at that time. And then in the second part, Allah actually made it very clear that what he really means when he says on all the people. Actually, it is not all the people. It is on the people. It is on all the people once they have the means. So it does help in some situations. In other times, it is not that useful. Yeah, you're right. It is not that useful in some situations.
This ayah, قُمِ اللَّيْلَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا, and then there is description of this one. So forgive me if I'm just for the sake of understanding. Is that not badlul ghalt too?
No. It's still talking about the night. Same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's talking about the night. It wasn't that Allah talked about the day first and then said,
Okay.
oh no, it is night, actually. No.
Okay. Got
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right. I think we can go to the other part now, inshallah. We can close this topic now.